Hello, welcome everyone to Monitoring and Logs project. In this project, we'll be discussing the DOS attack, monitoring of that DOS attack, and prevention, just using simple methods to protect from such attacks. So here, moving further, the objectives that we have for this presentation as well as the whole demonstration that you'll be seeing later is monitoring the DOS attack. We'll be using a machine called LOIC to conduct a HTTP, to flood our victim machine with HTTP requests. Further, the tools that we'll be using for monitoring would be Loki, Syslog, Grafana, Promtail as well. So further, we'll be looking at the logs and understanding whether the whether a system is compromised or not. The visual matrix, the dashboards have already been set up on Grafana, so that would be really helpful to make the analysis in real time. Last but not the least, we'll be responding to the incident. We'll be trying to mitigate mitigate the effect of the attack. So moving further, the lab setup. So I'll just move that right here. So as you can see, we have three machines set up. The first one would be Windows. So LOIC is installed. LOIC is a very simple tool that we can use to launch a DOS attack. So this here we'll be using HTTP flood. So we'll be flooding HTTP packets to our victim machine, which is Kali. So on Kali, the Apache server is set up and our syslog to transfer the logs remotely to Fedora. Fedora machine, we have set up Loki, Promtail, and Grafana that we can use to monitor and visualize. Moving further, the Apache. So as you can see, the default configurations have been kept here. The Apache server is installed. This is the default page. We just needed a page that is being hosted on Apache server. So that is what we have used. Moving further, the selected attack method. So the selected attack method, like already said, is DOS. So whenever a DOS attack is launched, we are clogging or choking um, the victim machine with n number of requests, n number of packets that it has to respond to. So as the victim machine is so busy with the uh, responding to those requests from our machine, it is unavailable to the other users. So that affects the availability of a website. So that is what we'll be doing with the default Apache website here. LOIC is a tool that we can use to launch the attack, as you can very well see here. LOIC, it's very simple to use. It's an open source tool available online. So it just needs an IP address, the IP address of the victim. This would be IP address of our Kali machine. The port can be decided. The method we could have it as HTTP, we could have it as TCP, we could have it as UDP. We can decide the number of threads, the speed at which should we wait for the reply or not. As you can see, we have a little checkbox here to wait for the reply or not. So yes, so quite simple to use. Just fill in all the information and start flooding the victim machine. So as you know that this is just for the educational purpose, and this should not be used uh, for any illegal activities. So we have our own lab setup, so all the machines belong to us, and we are just doing a little demonstration. So we are good to go. Moving further, as you can see, the logs are generated, and the logs here generated, as you can see, HTTP, because we are sending the HTTP requests and then forwarding it to the Fedora machine. Moving further, the monitoring. So the dashboards, it's a great tool actually, Grafana. So creating dashboards is, I think, one of the best things that I find about the feature about Grafana, because it helps you visualize it. Looking rather than looking at the text, you can look at the graph, and it makes things quite easy. So as we can look at this dashboard, this is an actual dashboard that I was using in the attack. Uh, the demonstration would be attached after this. So here, as you can see, the dashboard. So I was trying to launch the attack. This is for a brief period of time that I tried to launch the attack. Here, as you can see, the activity goes higher. The HTTP requests to the Kali machine. So as you can see here, the host is Kali. So this is the this is the moment where the attack is happening. So looking at the dashboard, it is quite obvious that something is wrong. And so therefore, I would say that having a dashboard setup is really helpful. Moving further, now that we know that the attack is happening, the next step is mitigating or responding to the incident. So how so I responded to it in a very simple way, using the firewall configuration, limiting the connections to 20. So that was used, and if I go back, the attack is happening in both of the scenarios. But as you can see, the graph shows a very high number. However, here it is quite low. The reason being the firewall configuration was changed with the IP tables. So the attack is happening in both the scenarios, but it is way more impactful before than it was later. And to conclude, that Grafana and other monitoring tools are very good at visualizing any suspicious activities that are happening in your environment. Having them set up is really helpful, because any suspicious activities happen there, you just know it in a moment, and the lesser the response time, the better. So not only it so I think that before responding to the incident, you have to know the incident. So to know that an incident is occurring, monitoring tools play a very important role. And then definitely it can be, the risk can be mitigated in various ways. The impact can also be reduced. Thank you so much.
Hello, welcome to demonstration of LOIC attack. I mean the DOS attack using LOIC. So here, as you can see, I have three machines. First would be my Windows machine. This would be the machine that I'll be using to launch the attack. Next is my Kali machine that I'll be using as a victim or the target. And Fedora, I'll be using Grafana on Fedora to actually monitor the attack. So to begin with, first of all, my Kali Linux IP is right here. I have set this up already. So this will be my IP address. The port is 80 where I'm running the Apache services. So as you can see here, let me just open that. So I had it running. There you go. So I have the page here. So I'm running my Apache. This is the default page that I'm working with. So going back to Windows, now what I'll be doing is I'll be launching the attack. Everything is set up already. So I won't be waiting for the reply. It's on port 80. HTTP is, I'm going to send the packets. So let's start. So I've started the attack. Here, as you can see, now when I try and refresh it, it's loading because I'm overloading it uh, with the HTTP requests. So I have a little setup here, as you can see. First of all the logs that are going to, or all the logs that are going to the access log in Apache, I'm just forwarding it to syslog. So this is what's going on here, and you can see the logs here as well. These are being forwarded to Fedora machine right here, as you can see the dashboard. So this has been set to HTTP. So I've been detecting all the HTTP. The host would be Kali, and we are just detecting all the HTTP logs. So this, as you can see, the attack is going on. So this is the monitoring that I am doing. So I'll just stop this here, and now I'll be trying to protect from my from this attack. So just give me a moment. So here what I'll be doing is I have this command right here to limit the connection. So I'll be limiting the connections to 20 so that when the attack is launched, it is not as impactful. As you can see that it will reject any that is above the limit. So limiting that using my firewall. Okay, I'll be needing the root privileges here. So sudo. So I have changed the configuration. So everything is up and running again, and I'll be launching the attack again. Now, when I see here, the attack is not as impactful. As you could see that we had a load of requests earlier, but now it's down. So because the reason being, the logs are still generated here, but it is limited. The limitation is due to the changes in the firewall as the connections have been limited. So that would be it for my presentation. Thank you so much.